Hey, in today's video, we're going to create this in Adobe After Effects. Let's get started. Create a new composition and I'm going to use 1080 by 1080 because it's going to be for social media. All right, so I'm going to rename the comp whatever you want, hit OK. So let's create the background first. Create a new solid, hit OK. And I'm going to duplicate this solid, Control D. Change the color of the solid by holding Control Shift and Y and change it to white, and move this white solid below this red solid. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is select this solid, red solid, double click on this to create a mask, and I'm gonna grab this mask point and hold down Shift and drag it above like this. All right, I'm gonna select both these points and I'm gonna move it up. Let's go to the effects and presets and type in gradient, which is a 4-color gradient. We're gonna drag and drop this on that solid. So we're gonna pick a color of red and maybe change the brightness, the lightness, and the darkness to whatever color you like, something like this. You can choose completely a different color, depends on your choice. Okay, so I'll leave that for now like this. And what I'm gonna do is create a text, Nike, and I'm gonna change the text to white, and I'm using this font which is free to download. I'll be adding all the links to the font and the assets in the description down below, so check it out. Scale it up, align it roughly to the center like this, and I have a PNG image of a shoe here. I'm gonna drag and drop here, and I'm gonna change this anchor point to somewhere here and hit U and rotate it like this, and maybe even scale the size of the shoe up like this, or I can even scale the size of the text up and back to the center of the composition, something like this. Let me rotate it even more. Let's go to the effects and presets and search for drop shadow, and drop shadow on that shoe, and I'm going to increase to around 70 and distance, and change the direction so that it falls something like this. And I'm going to increase the softness so that we have a soft shadows, and you can always increase and decrease the opacity depending on what you want. Okay, so it's very simple, very straightforward. So let's keep that for now, and let's go and create another text which is shop now. And I'm going to change the color of the text to black and scale it down, reposition it somewhere here, duplicate the text, move it down, and I'm going to change it to just do it. Okay, so I'm going to align this to the center, and I'm going to import another image which is a screenshot of this. Alright, I'm going to drag and drop this image just on top of the white solid here and move it down something like this, and I'm going to change the color of the solid to the color of this background image. Okay, so I'll hold down Control Shift and Y, selecting on the solid, and I'm gonna pick the color of this, so hit OK, and I'm gonna select this image, hit T to bring up the opacity and set this to around 25%. All right, let's select the shoes and go back to the effects and controls and maybe decrease the opacity to maybe around 70 or 60. And I'm gonna select this shop now and maybe decrease the size a little bit somewhere here. And let's start the animation of this. Okay, so let's turn off the shoe for now and all the text here, and I'm going to select the red solid, the image, and the white solid. Okay, hit P on the keyboard, hold down Shift and hit page down 1 2 3 4 5 and set a keyframe for the position and go back to the first frame, and I'm going to move it to the Y axis down and select all the keyframes, F9 for easy ease. Go to the graph editor and change the graph something like this, and go back to the main timeline, normal timeline, and if you play it back you have this. So right now we want some parallaxing effect for the image, so I'll select this image and grab all the keyframes of the position, and I'm gonna offset this so that there is some parallaxing effect. Okay, something like that. All right, so once we are done with that, let's create the animation of the Nike text, which is this. Let's turn it back on, and I'm going to the effects and presets and type in random, and I'm gonna find a text preset which is random fade up. Okay, so once you have it here, I want this text to start animating, so I'll set this current time indicator somewhere here and drag and drop this random fade up on top of the text, and you have that text animation. Very simple. All right, the next animation will be the shoes, which is this, and I'm going to animate this. Okay, so once you have the Nike text, right from here, I'm gonna select these shoes, hit P on the keyboard and hold down Shift and R to bring up the rotation, and I'm gonna set a keyframe here, and I'm going 1, 2, 3. Hold down Shift and hit page down 3 times, and I'm gonna move this keyframe here. So from here, hold down Shift and hit page down to come back 1, 2, 3 times, and I'm gonna move it down here and a rotation down somewhere here. Okay, so select all the keyframes, F9 for easy ease. Go to the graph and change the graph to something like this, and if you play it back, okay, so the problem we have is that we have to mask out the shoes here. Okay, that's very simple. Let's select this red solid, Control D to duplicate it, move it just on top of the shoes, and I'm gonna set parent this track matte to the red solid like this. So once you have that, the shoe comes up. All right, once we have the animation of the shoes, let's move on to the animation of the text. That's very simple. Let's turn on the shop now and just do it, and we're gonna animate this. So once we have the shoe animation completed here, I want this shop now to come out. Okay, so I'm going somewhere here, hit P on the keyboard to bring up the position, set a keyframe for the position, and I'm going to come back, hold down Shift and hit page down 1, 2 twice, and I'm going to move it down here, so it's coming up like that. Okay, so I'm going to do the same for this, just do it, and hit P on the keyboard, and right at this point set a keyframe for the position, go back to this keyframe, and this time I'm going to move it up so the animation are opposite. Okay, select all the keyframes, hit F9 and go to the graph, and I'm going to change the graph to something like this, and if I play it back, okay, that's very nice, and maybe even I'm going to make it a bit slower by bringing this keyframe away like this, and all right, that's very nice. But the problem now is that we have to mask it out. So for this text, I don't have to mask it out because I just can drag it below this red solid, and it is just like that. Okay, and for this shop now, I think I have to mask this out. So I'm gonna do the same like we did for the shoes, which is duplicating the red solid, Control D to duplicate, move it just above the shop, and I'm gonna mask it to the text like this. All right, as you can see here, the shop and the shoe is here, so I'm gonna trim that off. Right here, shop now, and this mask, select both of these layers, hold down Alt and begin square bracket to trim that at this time. And I'm going to do the same for the shoe, which is this, and maybe around here I'm going to select the shoe and the mask, hold down Alt and select begin square bracket. I hope you learned something from this tutorial. If you want to learn more After Effects, watch this video. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.